Do you want to put me on, or do you want to just hear my voice?
No, I just want to hear your lovely voice, Susan.
So I won't be seen by people?
No, you will be seen by
Oh,
people.
okay.
You definitely
Okay.
be seen, but I want to hear your voice as well.
Okay. You're going to get both. I just wanted to know if I had dyed my hair for no reason.
No. It look, is it red? Is that red?
It's Lucille Ball went to the wrong hairdresser red.
What do you mean?
My hair is not, your hair is black and you put that beautiful
Blonde.
blonde
Yeah,
in
blonde
front.
in there.
So
Yeah.
I used to be blonde. I mean,
Really?
my hair is black and I used to be blonde, but I can't do blonde by myself. How do
Yeah.
you do that?
I have
Well,
somebody do it for me
yeah.
because I can't do it myself either.
Blonde
Honestly.
is hard because
It is hard.
it involves chemicals that you don't really want to. So my hairdresser has offered, I'll make you blonde again, but my hair is down to my, am I allowed to? I have to ask you.
You can say whatever you want on
I can
here.
say my hair is down
Yeah.
to my ass at this
Yeah.
point, like a pony. So I can't do all that blonde myself. So I just
Yeah.
thought, well, auburn's a nice color.
I like it.
I like
like
it too. And my friend who was the star in Jaws, which is all I'll say about her, because she was huge.
Really?
She says to me, this is very glamorous. This is what it's very glamorous. And I
Very
said,
glamorous.
what the hell does glamorous mean, that it looks awful? And she said, oh, it means it's glam. And then she took a picture of me to send me. And at the bottom of the picture was her dog's ass, which is the size of my car. She has this
No.
I love her dogs. They're beautiful, but she lives alone now. Her husband passed, and
Oh, I see.
she lives alone in Beverly Hills, way atop a hill.
Wow, Beverly Hills? Wow.
Oh yeah, her husband used to own Universal Studios. Oh God, I hope she's not watching. Yeah, yeah. They used to own Universal Studios. They've got
Wow.
a big house, and she's in it alone. So she
Oh my
needs
gosh.
the dog. Have you ever heard of a Presa Candelaria dog?
No, what's that?
It's bigger than a Mastiff, and
That's a big dog.
it's a big friggin' dog, and its ass is bigger than I am. So there's this beautiful picture of me like this. And she said, see how glamorous you look? And I sent it to my friends and they said, what's the dog ass doing? And nobody commented, they just looked at the dog.
They didn't care about what you were doing. They're just like, oh, look at that big ass in that picture.
They can see me anytime they want to call me on Zoom, although
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to be normal now. Although
what do you mean? I don't want that.
I'll try not to discuss dog ass as the beginning of our conversation.
I told Deb, I said, you know what I like about Susan? She just says stuff that like, I don't think a lot of people say. I don't think you say things a lot of people say.
I've been told that. I've been told that a lot, which is fine. I'm happy with that. That's who I am. At least I'm telling you the truth.
That's exact. Have you always been like this?
I've always had a big mouth.
Okay.
I have always had to say, are we recording now? I've always had to say, can I say F-U-C-K on the air?
Yeah, you could say it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've always had to say, can I say fuck on the air? And then they say, well, you just did. So
you just said it.
You just said it. So now what do you want to do? And yeah, I have always been like this because I don't work well in the boxes that are defined. I don't want to say for women because they're defined for the men as I was growing up too. My mother went to Radcliffe and everyone said, don't go to, I would have had to get, they don't have any choice. If your parents went there, they had to let you in. And I had good grades, although I slept through everything. I just
Why?
I didn't like, I went to a very small private school in Greenwich Village, and they really thought I was going to grow up to be someone's suburban housewife. And I thought, you can't be that stupid. You can't possibly look at me and think I'm going to be a housewife, because I've always been creative and I've always written a lot, and they just didn't get who I was. And so they said, please don't go to Radcliffe. Please don't take that away from one of the girls in the class who really, really, really wants to go. So, and she was my friend. So I said, okay, I won't apply. She went to Radcliffe and jumped under an MTA train. And I said, well, the deal is those schools are confining if you're not normal. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Are you normal? You
I
know,
don't know. I don't know what that is. What does that
well,
mean?
neither do I, and I don't want to become normal.
You don't want to become normal.
No,
No.
my
I don't know
husband,
what that is. I don't know what that is.
it means just like everybody else, and it means you wouldn't say fuck before you said, could I
Yeah.
say something that rhymes with duck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I don't start with that. I start with, can I? And the women I've worked with, and this didn't help, I worked with a woman who was hilarious. Her husband developed all of the sitcoms in the 1970s, and she's a
Hmm.
very, very strong natured woman. So I would walk into her office for lunch, and she would say, "Is that fucking tuna fish on your plate?
Yeah.
I don't eat meat." So I said, "Yeah, it's
Oh.
tuna fish," and she'd say, "Get the fuck out of my office." And I thought, really? It's just tuna
Yeah.
fish. It's not like it, you know, it's not like
Yeah.
the guts of a small child. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I've always been like this, and I prefer my people, my friends like this.
Mm.
I'm not really great with the chronically shy.
Chronically
I'm
shy.
nice to people. You know,
Yeah. No, no.
where are you from? Where do you live?
I live in Washington State in this tiny town. Well, you just almost dropped your coffee when I said
I
that.
almost spit up my.
Why? Why do you
I just assumed you lived in LA.
No, I'm in Washington State.
How's it going up there?
I mean, it's good. It's pretty laid back. I'm right on the border of Canada, literally like a mile from the border of Canada. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a
I know
beautiful
it's not
place.
cold.
No, today it's actually going to be like 66 degrees. It's really nice.
And are you doing this for the sake of promoting people's art? Is that why you're doing these podcasts or Zoom casts?
It's purely for I think in the beginning I was telling myself something that wasn't true, which was that I'm doing this for all as other people and to, I'd like to help people, but I think there was kind of like well, I want to help people. And then I realized I'm really just doing this for me
Hmm.
because I want to learn from other people and I want to develop meaningful relationships with other people who are doing different stuff.
Right,
And in the process, obviously I promote,
right.
the conversations, but the real meaning is like, I just want to meet interesting people.
Do you write? Are you a writer or a painter or do you
I
have an art
used to
form?
write. I've written several books, like poetry books. I love poetry.
Wow.
So I mean, I wouldn't say I don't know, I guess I am an artistic type of person. I don't know if I see myself that way. But I think if you look at it, it probably looks like I am,
Well,
probably for that.
you don't, that's like me and my red hair. You just have a
Yeah.
distorted
I
image of
like,
yourself.
I am like my own art
Yeah.
gallery. I like the blonde hair, I have black earrings, got tattoos. I got all types of stuff going on.
Is the part of Washington State you're in fairly open-minded? Because
Oh yeah.
Washington cuts a wide swath as far as I
No,
can tell.
actually, what's interesting? A lot of people don't think that. They think that Washington is like just uber liberal all over the place.
Oh,
It's not true. That
there's no,
is not true. That's actually mainly Seattle, primarily area. But there's a lot of rural
yeah,
conservative areas. I would say I'm in like the middle of kind of both sides of the equation.
yeah.
And then
Are you in lockdown now there? I don't know what the state of
no, no, but we were in lockdown for a long time. Like,
had it. Seattle really had a
oh
bad,
man. Oh,
right?
yeah. We were in lockdown for a really long time and then we came out for like a month or
Yeah,
so. And then we
yeah.
went right back into it. And then we've been out of lockdown for a little while now. It's been nice. It's been really nice.
Are you going out? Do you see your friends?
I'm out. I'm going out. Actually, I'm going to Vegas on Thursday.
Oh my God. To
Yeah.
gamble or just to
Everything. Gamble, party, relax.
they don't have any kind of mask stuff in Vegas, right? You can do whatever the hell you want.
They do. They do have masks at like the casinos have masks, I believe. Now, I don't know
Really?
how much they follow it and stuff. Restaurants and things of that nature, but they're opening back up pretty hardcore
You
in
haven't
Vegas.
had vaccinations. You're too young. Or well, now you're
No,
not.
no, I'm in the healthcare industry, so I've had my vaccination. Yeah.
What are you a doctor?
I have my doctorate and I work in I know you're so surprised at this. What is this like?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, if I told you that I was a surgeon right now, and that you know what I mean? I am. I'm an oral surgeon, and I just write these books. I'm kidding, but
Yeah,
but
okay. Well,
what's your doctorate in?
it's
You
in
know,
it's in
psychology.
sports education, leadership, with an emphasis in behavior modification. So it's a lot of psychology, but in more of a sports and fitness environment.
Do you work at that anymore right now, or are you on, or is
It's
that
all live. It's all live virtual. It's online. It's all live stuff. So on virtually, which has been fine. It's not been a big deal
yeah?
for me. But
And
because of that, I was able in Washington just to. Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated. I think as of today, because 2 weeks after you get your last one or something.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, Darian's going to party. That's what's going to happen here. Yeah.
You be careful.
I will be careful. I mean, it's not like I'm going out and mixing with tons of people and stuff like that.
Just don't tongue kiss every single person you walk
No,
past. You know
listen,
what I
I'm
mean?
married. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm like,
I don't want to hurt your feelings, but sometimes married people do that.
okay, now
I'm just
listen, that's true. That
that.
I'm not denying that, but I
Yeah.
don't do that. Like,
I think it's better. It's easier on the marriage that way. And I have a partnership I've been in, for a very, very long time. And
how long?
when was the emancipation
No,
process?
don't say that.
We've been together more than 25 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time because I used to go from one man, and the way I would leave the relationship is with another man. And I didn't realize I was doing, but I mean,
Okay.
I've never been in a short relationship. I'm not,
Oh, really?
I'm too neurotic. By the time someone has convinced me that they really like me, it's been 5 years.
Oh, really?
And then I'm bored with them and we break up. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
How long have you been with your partner?
I've been married it'll be 17 years this July. It's been great too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been really amazing. I've enjoyed it. We have a 9-year-old daughter. She is great.
Wow.
That's it. That's the family.
Is she homeschooling? I mean, what is she doing for school?
Uh, it's a
Yeah.
mess. Honestly, it's been a mess. I mean, I'm going to be truthful. I'd like to tell the truth.
Yeah, do
Most
it.
of the year's been a mess. It's been a mess because
It's a nightmare, man. I'm
it's been
waiting
a
for the
nightmare.
straight jacket. I've told people, if you send the straight jacket because you can tell that I'm losing it, I would prefer a nice shade of peach because it'll go with my
Peach straight
hair.
jacket.
You know,
Yes.
but I've really thought a few times, okay, I'm ready. I'll put my own hands behind my back. It's
Yeah.
very, very hard. And for a 9-year-old, I don't,
Oh,
is she in the room? No.
no, she's not in the room, but
She's lost
she's,
a year of her life, 9 years old.
I agree.
When I was 9, I was stealing candy. It was
Right.
important to me that I act out and that
Right.
I had friends who stole the candy from me and then I'd steal it. 9 years old,
Yeah.
I feel the need for my friends really badly, but I can
Yeah.
live without them because I write. And so
Right.
I write, I go into my subconscious mind, which you don't want to visit, by the way.
Why?
I was talking to you'll never believe I see a therapist. I was talking to my therapist and I said, why is this so goddamn painful for me? And
Yeah.
she reminded me, I used to live, I'm from New York, you probably guessed. Maybe you didn't guess
No,
that.
I didn't
Um,
guess.
I was conceived in Greenwich Village, and I lived in
Okay.
Greenwich Village the first few years of my life. And I went to school in Greenwich Village my whole life until I left for college. And then my parents had moved to the Upper West Side, and I hated it. I am not, the Upper West Side is
Really?
I don't like intellectuals. I like very, very smart people like you.
Okay.
But I don't really want to pretend that the conversation we're having today is going to lead to a conversation about Tolstoy.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't
I
like
see.
the phoniness, and
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I'm not wild about academia because I think you learn much more. I've always done it myself. I think it started because my mother couldn't put my snowshoes on, and she said,
Yeah.
do it yourself. I was 18 months old. I said, how am I going to put on snowshoes? I'm a baby.
Yeah.
But I learned to do that. And so now I'm writing about the house in Greenwich Village that I was conceived in. And
Hmm.
I'm writing along, and the character says to my character, you were conceived in that room. And I hit save, and I fell down on the floor and thought, I didn't just make that up. I was conceived in
Yeah.
that room, and I've put my character back into it because I think knowing where you come from has a lot to do with knowing where you're going. So
Yeah.
this is the second book I'm writing. The first book I realized I did a really interesting thing with, you know how in the old days we had photographs and you had the
Yeah.
photograph and you had the negative?
Yes.
And I'm not using negative now as a pejorative.
No, the negative of the thing. Yeah.
I wrote the first protagonist I wrote. She was the negative of me. So where I'm talkative and loquacious and I want to know about your 9-year-old. Is she okay? My character is very waspy. And
Yes.
she wouldn't ask you anything she thought was rude until the book changes her completely. And she still doesn't turn into me, but every friend I
Yeah.
have who ever read the book said, if someone knows you, they know that this is just the other side.
Right.
Are this character that I'm writing, there is no other side. She's me. And the house I lived in Greenwich Village, after we moved out, my father rented to a murderer. And my father's, this will amuse you. There was a case in New York. Do you know who the Beat Poets were?
Yeah.
Okay. So sort of the host of the Beat Poets was a man named Lucian Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't write anything, but they all met at Columbia, and Lucian Carr kind of put them all together in a room, and everybody, some of them got stoned on marijuana, they all did something. They shot up, they got stoned. I don't give a shit as long as I don't have to. I don't want to do that. But Lucian Carr had this guy that wrote his papers for him and was sort of his mentor. And at a certain point, Lucian Carr killed him. And the New York papers called it an honor slaying because the man was gay.
An honor slaying?
It was called an honor slaying.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting.
That is really crazy.
So disgusting. So he went to prison for 18 months, and it was a reformatory, and he was not under 21. And they said that the guy had approached him and he hadn't wanted him to. And that's not true. They had been having, I don't know what they had, but certainly he knew the guy had followed this kid's, his name is Lucian Carr.
Yeah.
This man that he killed named David had followed Lucian Carr's family from city to city because his father was a big executive and they moved a lot. Every place they moved, this man moved. So if he didn't know the guy was interested in him, then he's a moron.
Right.
So he used him, and he had the guy write a lot of his papers for him at Columbia. And then one night they went out drinking together, and they went to, do you know New York City at all?
Not that well, no.
Okay. So on the Hudson River,
okay,
there's the West Side Highway. But between the Hudson River and the West Side Highway, there's a park. Please excuse my language. I did not make this up.
Okay.
There was a place in the park that was called Faggot's Folly. And it was because it was such a homophobic era.
Right.
That it was a place that gay men could go at night and no one could see them. It was really dangerous to be gay. This is New York City. I'm not talking about Poland, I'm talking about New York City. And he went there with this guy. So what was he doing going there with him?
Right.
And then he stabbed him in the heart.
Oh.
Okay, so cut to, he let him die a very grisly death. They did not want to prosecute him. They put him in prison for 18 months. He got out. And then my father rented our house to him. And looking back on the history, I thought, did you not ask the guy, what do you do for a living? I kill people. What do you do for a living? He became the bureau chief of United Press International. Nobody gave a damn that he had killed this guy.
Wow.
And I thought, I was born into that house. Some of that energy, I'm sorry to say energy, I'm in California. You know what I mean?
You're definitely allowed. You're in California.
I'm in California. So it's I'm finding out that what I'm doing in these books is putting together basically an autobiography as if it was written by someone insane. It's like I took the mirror of my life and smashed it with a hammer and then took pieces of it and said, but they're all real pieces. This guy really did commit murder.
Yeah.
And so did William Burroughs, who everyone thinks, oh, he's so cool. He wrote Naked Lunch. He shot his wife in the forehead and killed her in front of the police.
What? This is gruesome.
Okay, maybe I should tell a happy story.
No, it's fine.
And then they glued her head back together and she was fine.
Oh,
Not true. William Burroughs went to Mexico to get over his heroin addiction. He made the decision that he would become an alcoholic instead of a heroin addict.
Oh.
It's a little peculiar, but okay.
Yeah, it is peculiar.
really peculiar. And he was sitting in a bar and he said to his wife, want to play the William Tell game? And I thought, the William Tell game. So she put her drink on top of her head and he took out his handgun and he shot her right in the head.
Oh,
Those are
wow.
I don't like the beat poets, but I have a little
Yeah.
thing about men from that era writing homophobic, misogynist stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the more I learned, and they all lived in my house. They hung out at the house because they were a group of friends. And I am really digging into what the hell was my father? My father sold underpants. What the hell was he doing with these people? And I think he found them thrilling.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? It's so weird.
Wow. Can you imagine a time where people had to gather in a place, in a park late at night because of their sexual orientation?
Right. Because it was okay to kill them.
Right. How crazy is that?
It's subhuman as far as
it wasn't that long ago either. I mean,
it was not that long ago.
Really,
And because I grew up in Greenwich Village, most of the men that I was most comfortable with as a little teeny girl, I was mostly comfortable with gay men because they appreciated that I was really smart and I was a cute kid and nobody tried to. I can say this word.
Just say whatever you want.
I would ride on the subway to school every day and 5 guys would flip out their penises at me.
Oh my God.
And I would go home and say to my mother, a lot of men showed me their penises and she'd say, well, they're sex fiends. Don't worry about it. And I thought in retrospect, that might not have been the smartest thing to say to a 7-year-old, but the gay men in Greenwich Village really appreciated a smart kid. I'm sure your daughter is very, very smart. And I'm sure that I would appreciate how smart she is. But that was where I got my first appreciate. I mean, my mother liked that I was smart because it reflected well, but that you would have to go to a place right on the riverfront so that you would be safe from discovery. You couldn't rent a hotel room.
That's crazy.
It's really,
especially considering where we are currently.
That's what I was,
it's like that. And you think this is like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's just not.
No, it's not. It's not hundreds and hundreds.
It's unbelievable how recent that
was.
The
law on the books was written in 1927 about honor killing of one gay person against another. It was called honor killing. And what was the other thing it was called? I'll come up with it. It's the same crap that they put on now if you kill your wife in Afghanistan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was going to say that it still exists in other countries and things. I think even in India, I may have this wrong. There's some of that in India, I believe.
So, so bad.
It's so barbaric. I mean,
so barbaric. 14-year-old girls get raped. This is not going to be, I'm going to say something happy. In India, they now have this thing called the Pink Sari Brigade. 400,000 women in pink saris have joined together. And if you call up and say, my husband just hit me, 50 of them will show up at your house and put him on trial right there.
Whoa.
How hard he hit you. And if he hit you, if he really did you damage, they will do him damage.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of damage.
Wow.
And so I think it really is up to the people in a society to say, no. If I saw someone, I've seen people on my block kick a dog, and I went running up to him and said, if I ever see you kick a dog again, I'll kill you. You can't do that if you don't want the dog, give it to a no-kill shelter.
Sure.
So I think we started with, have I always had a big mouth? Yes. What is your daughter doing with this? Are friends allowed to come over?
Well, she had a really long stretch where it was just me, her, and my wife for many, 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 many months.
Oh
and God. Then over time, we kind of slowly started doing 1 or 2 friends and type of thing. Right. And then school was back in. And so she's going, so they're doing a hybrid, 1 week online, 1 week in, and then next week they're back every week to school in person. So my daughter is very excited about that because she can't stand virtual learning.
I don't blame her.
Because the teachers, honestly, I hate to say this, but true, but the teachers check out of it. They just check out of it. They don't want to do it. And so basically the kids in school get a lot of attention, and the kids who are virtual, they don't really get any attention. So then it's on the parents to be the teachers during that week.
Yeah.
Parents are busy. They got
Yeah.
jobs to do and things, it's difficult. So emotionally, I think it's difficult for kids. Clearly it's like that for adults and stuff, but I
Are
don't know.
you concerned for her to go back into a classroom in terms of COVID or you?
No, because she's been doing it for a
Okay.
long time, just on and off.
Okay.
And she's been fine. She's been really good.
Do
So
you have cats?
I have one cat. Yes, I do. Are you a cat person? You like cats?
I love cats so much more than I love people. I love all animals.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Have you met any people lately?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of people.
In fact, you know what? I've written 2 books and I've written like 9 plays and
yeah.
I've written 20 documentaries about the treatment of women and gay people because I worked for an organization. I worked for Ms. Magazine. Okay. So that's their interest. But there is a form of COVID that hits cats and it's fatal all the time. It's just, and I had a kitten die of it a year ago. And now it seems to me that because of all the research they've done for human COVID, I've been told they can now cure it in cats. And that made me so happy because we should be using science in every way we can, to make life mortality is, are you raising your child in any kind of religious or spiritual tradition?
Yeah. We've been Christians, man. My parents were Christians. I've been a Christian.
Well, you told me at the end of our last talk that you would call yourself a Christian. Yeah. Any particular brand?
No, I would say it's more of a non-denominational aspect of it.
You're not evangelical.
No. I don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry.
Well, that makes a couple of million of you because they don't know what they're doing. Because if you could really watch someone say, I've done more for Christianity than Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, see, I think that's the hypocrisy of it, is to espouse values of humility and goodness and kindness and love, but then be into things that are the antithesis of that.
Awful.
Is totally hypocritical. It's wrong. It's wrong. I'm telling you, it is.
Everything I feel about it is. This is my thing about story and why I keep writing no matter what, because I'm so sorry. LA's air is like,
it can't be good.
Phlegm balloon. So I'm just gonna.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I have made that any more disgusting for you. So I have this new theory of human development that human beings develop by the stories they're told. So if you're told that it's okay in Cain and Abel to like one kid better than the other, then that's something you might believe, and it's wrong.
Sure.
It's really wrong. Right. And that's only the beginning of wrong. So I think stories are really what we have to tell now. If you're a poet, go back to writing poet. Go back to writing poet. Go write poetry, because your child will learn so much from the stories. I don't know what kind of poetry you wrote. Maybe it was abstract or haiku or something, but I think we have to tell people new stories. I'm so relieved to see that like TV and movies have moved so far ahead, let's say, of live theater in terms of telling stories about different types of people and different choices people can make, because your 9-year-old is not going to learn on her own everything that you and I already know.
Sure.
That's just not possible. But if you tell her dumbass stories about, Hansel and Gretel went in and the witch waited until they were fat enough, then I'm not sure what good that does her. I think she needs to know. This is who I am. I think she needs to believe everything I believe. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people. I think you need to believe what I believe. I'm happy to respect what you believe, because you seem like you believe in kindness and compassion.
I do.
And you're smart.
Thank you.
I am done with dumbass. You've been dumbassed to the point that
I mean, I'm open to the different ideas and different things. I'm not like a closed book by any means, and I want my daughter to be like that. and that, but I want there to be consistency. And I think the hypocrisy of behavior is espousing one way and then doing the opposite.
Right.
That has no merit to it.
No, and kids notice that.
You notice that. Like
They
if you say, oh,
really-
is your dad a good person? Okay, well, I think my dad's a good person, but he does a lot of bad things all the time. And it's like, okay, what's the matching? Does it match up? Like if I meet Susan on here, and then let's say I meet you in person, you're completely different. That's fraudulent.
Yeah,
That's a fraudulent person.
right.
To me, I am me. No matter where you meet me, you're gonna
Right.
meet me. I mean,
Yeah.
I would never imagine that you would be different than this. I couldn't even imagine that because
I,
I
I'm
can't
not,
imagine that.
I'm not any different. I do have legs. That's the only difference.
Well, okay, yeah.
I have, I have an entire body.
Your
You
whole
know,
body is actually there.
I'm not actually just a bust of myself,
Yeah,
although
you're not busting
I have a
yourself.
lovely bust, but I have legs and, I have I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
no,
have
I love it, man. It's great.
arms and, I'm a whole person. No, I would be no different. And if you came into my house and didn't like my cats, I would put them away. I understand if people are
Sure.
desperately allergic, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
like,
know people like that. Yeah. No,
unless it's an allergy. I don't, like I told you, this photograph of me that is so pretty. And down there is this huge dog that is so frightening to people. It's
yeah,
huge, man.
yeah.
It's bigger than a mastiff. It's bigger than a pit bull, and it's stronger than both. Her dog
Yeah.
walker quit when she got the dog. And
I have a huge dog,
what
actually,
do you
Susan.
have?
I have
You
a
have a
Great
dog?
Dane. I have a Great Dane.
Those are big,
They're
man.
huge. I'm in talking super tall,
Does he
130
like,
pounds.
how does he do with the cat?
You know what? They got a weird relationship because like the cat's always slapping the dog. And as a Great Danes are gentle giants. And he just takes it. He just sits there and takes it. He
Yeah,
just gets slapped in the face by the cat
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
That's
Uh,
it.
That's a good dog, you
Yeah.
know?
He just takes it.
Sometimes at the end of a day when I just can't take any more of people's cruelty, I'll look at dog and cat videos and you watch these little teeny weeny kittens go up to these massively big dogs and smash them
They
in the
just
face.
slap him.
The dog
Yeah.
just goes, you hit me in the face yesterday.
It's almost an
Why did you
abusive
just,
relationship.
why did
It's
you hit me in the
terrible.
face? I know, but the kitten is literally like,
Yeah.
6 inches and the dog is 130
Right.
pounds. So he's not there for protection. You love him.
No, I mean, I think he thinks he is. He has this big booming voice.
Right.
Like, "Hur, hur," but like, he just wants to be rubbed. He just wants to be, that's it. I mean, I think it's the idea of protection,
Yeah.
for that. When you said about the cruelty of people, what is it about people that you have noticed? Like, what does that mean, the cruelty of people to you?
I thought the last 4 years, we were exposed to a level of people's willingness to watch other people suffer and not care that I thought was, it's one thing to hear about Somalia. Obviously, things in different parts of the world are very difficult.
Yes.
And people get, we were talking about India. In India, they hang girls who get raped by their uncles, and they
Oh.
claim that the girls seduced their uncles. Okay, but that's India. But
Sure.
when you see Americans not minding that children are taken away from their parents and probably won't ever find their parents
Mhm.
again, I can't do that. Now, an interesting opposite has happened, which is there's a kindness in people that I've never seen before.
Hmm.
So like if you just want to look at the animals,
Mhm.
the amount of people who are running onto the highway to catch a kitten that obviously got, its mother got killed and its whole litter got killed, and this kitten is heading for a drain pipe, and 75 people run to try to save it. That's the opposite of a kind of cruelty I've seen, where people don't care what's happening to other people. It's very strange. I think the whole thing about masks, without getting political, why wouldn't you wear a mask? That seems cruel to me. You might be infecting someone else.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the mask, paint "I hate the mask" on it. You know what I mean? But why?
Yeah.
I don't understand any of the I do understand the anti-vax stuff because I think people are scared. And
Mhm.
scared is different to me. I understand that. But cruelty, I've never seen so much cruelty. I think it's always been there. I read a lot of history because a lot of the stuff I told you I'm writing this book about the
Yeah.
history of the house I
Yeah.
lived in. And my last book, she travels to ancient Egypt and she does a lot of time traveling because I'm interested in that.
Yeah. I'm very interested in time traveling.
Tell me, where have you been?
No, listen, I would tell you if I had been somewhere, but don't you think the concept of time travel is fascinating to like anybody?
It's
There's
no,
a lot of branches too,
a lot
potentially.
of lunkheads who don't think time travel is possible, but of course it's possible. There's a time-space continuum. Ask Albert Einstein.
Right.
There's a place somewhere in the universe which anything that ever happened exists, and that's fascinating to me. Like, would you and I like to go back to, France in eight? Woody Allen does this. I'm really sorry that he's turning out to seem a little like a
Yeah,
creep.
I didn't watch that Mia or Pharaoh. I didn't watch it. I don't know. It didn't seem good from what I've read about.
Uh, I don't want to be a judge and jury, but
Right.
it seems to me like he was inappropriate, and
Yeah.
that's being nice. But
Sure,
that
sure.
doesn't change the fact that he can time travel in his movies in a way that is so, it makes me feel free that I'm not just stuck in 2021 Los Angeles, which is really different than 2019 Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like. What's it like where you are? Are the restaurants, well, are there restaurants? I don't
Yes,
know,
there are definitely restaurants. There's definitely
more than
uh
three. I'm not trying to be
no,
rude. I
no,
don't,
there's definitely more. I mean, some have closed, but it's a small town. I mean, I'm in a town of 5,000 people. It's not a big place.
okay.
So it's like a tiny smidgen of LA where I'm at. But everything kind of has kept afloat
Yeah.
for the most, and everything's pretty much open.
So
Yeah.
nothing has gone out of business. So when you
Not too
reopen up,
much.
it'll be the
No.
same town. It's not
Yeah, it'll
like,
be the same town. I heard LA is crazy. I heard like so many of the restaurants are just toast and like,
they're toast, and also a lot of them that are trying to untoast have put tables out on the sidewalk, which is smart because you can eat.
sure.
They don't close down the eating outside thing.
Yeah.
I have my friends in New York have a bar they go to because they go to it because it's outside, so it
Yeah.
never gets closed. But it's a policeman's bar, and
Oh,
these are two gay men,
yeah.
and it's not that the police would do anything to them, but they're not natural, companions. It's
Yeah.
not like the police department is so happy to see two gay men come in holding hands,
Yeah.
but they've learned to accommodate each other because, and this is the upside of what I said about cruelty, people, unless they're really so cruel that you just want to stick a safety pin in their ass,
Yeah.
unless they're that cruel, some people have really learned to say, leave it alone. They want to drink,
Yeah.
I want to drink, let's just drink quietly before, and now that bar is closed. I think people have
Okay.
been asked, especially children. I don't know how your 9-year-old is standing it, because when I had friends over the other day, we had friends over for the first time in a year that
Yeah.
we actually sat with them for an hour. I've had people come by and drop something
Sure.
off or pick up a book or something, but when they left, I thought, I used to be really good at that. I like to have people come over, and I always had really good snacks, and we always had a good time. And we had a really nice time being
Yeah.
together. When
Yeah.
they left, I thought, what the hell are kids going through? Because I'm
Exactly.
not, I can write. If I really, as I said, my subconscious mind is in the basement somewhere in two buildings
Yeah.
in New York City, but I can access it just by, if I start to type, my subconscious mind comes to me because
Yeah.
that's where I write from. Not everybody, I don't know. Did you write your poetry from your subconscious mind?
I don't know what mind I wrote it from. I think I was just like, it just came to me. Probably. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I think it just came to me. And it was a
Yeah.
time in it was mainly my early 20s, which felt very like you're searching for yourself. Who am I?
Where were you?
I was in Virginia actually
You
during
have
that
to search
time.
for yourself in Virginia.
What?
Virginia is such an interesting state, though, because it's going two directions at once. Part of them
That's true.
is so progressive right now, and part of them is like, can you just go like to Belarus or something and get out of the
Right.
country? And Mississippi, this was my favorite. Mississippi wanted to SU SUCCEED from the Union. That spells succeed, not succeed. And I thought, oh my God, how stupid are you? Nobody in the state of Mississippi said that's not how you spell it. So I used to think that about Virginia too, but Virginia's all the South. Look at Georgia. So this whole pandemic thing has been really a lesson in the horrible and the incredible, because I really like to sit home and write, but not to the point that when I'm done writing, I can't say to my downstairs neighbors have all been vaccinated. We live in a duplex, and all of my neighbors got vaccinated. We sat outside. We stayed up on our level, our balcony, and they stayed on theirs, but it was so nice just to talk to them.
Yeah.
I love my husband, but enough. I mean, how many times can you say,
I know.
Did you have
How's it going? Yeah.
You know? And I can't say, did you have a good dream? Because I'm I'm an insomniac, and he sleeps like a moose. I've never seen any. He just goes to sleep, and then he starts to have dreams. And so I'll be lying there wide awake, and I feel him starting to bicycle, and I think, where the hell are you going? And so I'll poke him and say, sweetie, what are you doing? I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming. I have to get out of here. I have to get out of the car. And I say, you're not in a car, sweetie. You're in a bed.
You're in a bed.
I'm trying to sleep. But
speaking of this time travel, I want to get back to this time travel thing, because I had a thought. About this. Okay. I think, like, let's say you want to try and I probably would. I don't know if I'd want to go to the past though.
You can only go to the past.
But the problem is, like, for me, that depends on when would I go to the past. Because as a black man, if I go to a certain time in the past, it's not going to be good for me. It's probably not going to be
go
good
to right after the Civil War, when black men and women were being elected to the Congress. They put an end to that pretty quickly. As a black man in America, when would you want to go to?
That's what I'm saying. Like, when would I want to go back?
Maybe the Obama administration, but that's an hour and a half ago.
That's like an hour and a half ago. I was there, but that was like, would I go like deep in the past? There's no way.
No, you could go back in the past as a black man if you wanted to go. I was going to say the Bahamas, but Christopher Columbus landed in the Bahamas and killed everyone who came to help him. He killed. So that's not so good.
That's not so. It's like limited for me. I think, like, what could I do?
What about for me as a woman? I don't want to go back.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And I don't want to wear Mormon underpants. I don't know where that comes from, but I don't want to wear a one piece of What the hell is the matter with them? Underpants.
But imagine you're going back. You talked about, like, you're not going to be a housewife. Imagine you came back into a time when you were an adult, let's say you were expected to be this way, That's
how I grew up.
Right. But
I grew up in Greenwich Village with teachers that had been blacklisted. And so they were college professors teaching high school kids because they couldn't get any other job. So you would think they would look at me and say, well, she's very smart, but she doesn't fit in any box. Why don't we tell her to be a writer? Yeah. Why don't we tell her to I went into theater because I could run around and express myself, but there were no roles take a look at me. Do I look American to you? No, I do not. So I'm not going to play Blanche Dubois, even though I can play her beautifully. And I can't play Lady Macbeth. I guess I could. Sure. You have to spit when you say it. But I wouldn't have been cast in any of those roles. Right. So I started my own theater company, and I wrote roles for women that were different. But what era would I go back to as a woman? Yeah. I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to not have toilets. Let's get down to it.
That's exactly right. Stuff like that.
My friends have said, why don't we all go camping? And I've said, oh, that's such a great idea. Let me know when you get back. I don't want to go to the bathroom next to a bear. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the bear's place to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I like a toilet. So that already eliminates everything. And for people like you and me, because you're a black man and I'm a woman, you can't go back.
I'm not sure what I would be doing. I'd be like, imagine you landed somewhere and immediately they're like, get him. They're like, get him. But like, no. Like,
well, especially with your hair,
Exactly.
You can't do anything in the past. I'll tell you, the one woman I would like to be is Marie Laveau. Do you know who she was?
I don't know who that is. No.
See? So Marie Laveau is called the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. And what she
Oh,
was a Black woman, and she ran the slave auctions at Congo Square, but she also practiced voodoo, which is not, sticking pins in people. That's the
sure.
misconception. Voodoo was a Pan-African, it's a variant of Yoruba, which is a
Okay.
Pan-African religion. And she became a hairdresser to the hoity-toityest of the people in New Orleans. And by doing that, she learned all of their secrets. And, you're talking to someone while you're talking to the wife of the mayor, and you find out that the mayor is sleeping with the ex-mayor's wife. And now you have that on her, and you have that on him.
Yeah.
And she leveraged her information about people to free slaves. And that's pretty friggin' amazing. She's freed more slaves than Harriet Tubman, and you've never heard of her. Yeah, she freed slaves that came to California. But here's the deal. She had 15 children. Ow.
Yeah. That's crazy too.
Ow. In a little one-room hut in New Orleans, 15 children. I would have killed 8 of them. And
oh my.
How do you have 15 children? And she was stunningly beautiful. Her 15th daughter looked exactly like her. So they put it about that this was her. She sent her daughter out and said, this is Marie Laveau. I'm timeless. I'm immortal. The problem was the daughter was an asswipe. And what Marie Laveau was a brilliant healer. And she could obviously, she could get secrets out of you that I couldn't get secrets out. If I said, does your 9-year-old ever wear pink? And you said, no, we don't allow her to wear pink. Pink is the devil's color. She could get that information out of you. Her daughter was not that smart, and she wasn't that good with people.
Right.
But they put it about that it was Marie Laveau herself. It's such a weird, and nobody knows the story. And if you go, have you ever been to the South?
I've actually been. I used to live in Louisiana, and I've been to there a couple of times. I didn't know.
Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Yes. I mean, I've definitely partied in New Orleans. And I haven't heard of her though. I'm telling you, man. I wasn't there for that. I'm telling you that right now.
You were there to party.
Yeah, come on. That's what I was there for.
I was there to party too. I was a stripper in New Orleans.
No, wait. Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
When was this?
I was just out of college, and my boyfriend and I were traveling through the South. And the Universal joint in our truck, we had a live-in truck. It was very hip. It was a lavender truck. I'm very surprised we weren't arrested, because I can say this now, I was always smoking pot in the truck. And he was the whitest man I've ever seen in my life, and very handsome. So the cops would pull us over, and unlike what happens tragically now, the cops were so polite to him that it was scary to me. When I came out, because I had hair, I grew my armpit hair and beaded it and all this crap.
Wow.
But our universal joint broke when we were in Baton Rouge, and we had it fixed, but we were now totally broke. We went to New Orleans, and we were walking down Bourbon Street, and it said exotic dancers. And he didn't say anything. I think he knew, but I said, I'm exotic. I mean, I'm definitely not an all-American girl. And I was a dancer at that point. So I went in, and I will spare you the gruesome details of how much shaving I had to do. They give you a peignoir set, and they give you the high heels, and you have to go across the street and buy your own pasties.
Yeah.
And I still didn't know. I mean, how stupid could you be? I was a stripper for one day.
One day?
Yeah, because I started yelling at this guy who said to me, well, when y'all are done with your act, do y'all want to come have a drink with me? And I said, what are you talking about? Do I want to have a drink with you? I'm a dancer. And he said, well, y'all's a stripper. And I went off on him about, I went to college. You're obviously an idiot. And so they fired me. And then the place next door offered to hire me. It was weird. It was so much fun. I'm such an exhibitionist. If you said to me, okay, you can take your clothes off now and show everybody, I would do it, because I was a stripper. I was an art model. I really wanted to.
Was it like nude art? Really? You know, like you see like the nude, they're standing there and they're nude and people are, that's what you did? Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. That was much more fun. Stripping is a little bit disgusting because,
Yeah.
you know, because Bourbon Street is a little bit
It's
disgusting,
very disgusting, actually.
very
Yeah. Yeah. It
disgusting.
smells like a throw up there, honestly.
I was just gonna say, it
You
smells
know
like,
that? Like people, like they have it on TV. They're like, oh, Bourbon Street and all this stuff. But if
yeah,
you're actually there, it smells like like it smells
yeah,
like throw up and like
yeah.
sanitation and antiseptic stuff. And it's
Yep.
just, it's disgusting,
A
actually.
very weird mixture of, because some parts of Louisiana are so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I really liked the French Quarter a lot just because
Hmm.
of the freedom of it. And because I know a lot about the history of slavery.
Yeah.
And I know that those slave auctions in Congo Square were bad news, and
Sure.
we have to really like blah 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 prevent that.
Right.
But yeah, I was an art model for a long time because it paid really well for women
Mm.
in those days. It paid really well, and you didn't have to. You didn't get a 1099. You could report what you want,
Yeah.
not report anything. And I like to take my clothes off and have people. And you didn't stand. Mostly, you did poses. So you had to be in pretty good shape to sit in one position for 20 minutes without your entire body
Yeah.
collapsing.
What is this? Like you like to take your clothes off? Like, has this always been a thing for you? Like what is that? What is that whole mindset? Like, it's just,
Well, I wanted to be an actress. I didn't understand when I was growing up that because I have an outgoing. I don't really have a writer's personality, although I've developed one. I've developed the ability to say, sure, I can sit in the house alone with my husband and my cats for a year.
hmm.
And my deepest conversations now are on the phone. And they're so deep because people so much want to connect with each other.
Yeah.
But I'm more extroverted than that. And I used to like what you liked. I used to like after the show, we all went out and drank and ate food.
Yeah.
I like theater. I don't,
Yes.
I wouldn't ever do it again because I wouldn't ever do it again because
Yeah.
there really are very few roles for women in the canon. Like if you think about Shakespeare, who's
Hmm.
a wonderful writer, there's 4 roles for women and
Right.
they're not worth playing.
Mm.
So, but in those days, I was really like, look at me, look, I can do this, I can do that.
Hmm.
And it sort of had to be beaten out of me in the sense of people saying, you don't look right for that. You're not American. Where
Mm.
do you come from? Hungary?
Yeah.
I thought, I came from Bleecker Street in West Village. Why are you
Yeah.
asking me that? But it took me a very long time to figure out what it's not racism. It's what is it? Anti-ethnicity. I'm not
Mm.
a little pert blonde, as I
Yeah.
described it the other day. You know what I mean? And in television, up to like maybe 10 years ago, and theater, the roles were for a very specific look, which I don't have.
Yeah.
And I got very disgusted with that and decided I did my own theater company, and we made a lot of grant money, and we did really good work teaching kids. We did plays that taught kids history.
Yeah.
And so then you could write plays about what I just told you about Marie Laveau, because nobody's heard of her.
No.
People in New Orleans have heard of her and call her a whore. I almost got thrown out of the cemetery she's in. There's a huge crypt for her in St. Louis Cemetery #2,
Hmm.
which is now in a place you can't go to in New Orleans.
Oh.
It's so dangerous.
Oh no.
But she's in a huge crypt, and they've put marks on it and marked it up, and it made me so mad because she was first of all, just to have had 15 children,
It's
she
a lot.
deserves an award.
You need a medal for that, man. Like a big
Really.
medal, like lots of other things too. That's
And it was with one
holy
guy. She
shit.
stayed married to the same guy.
Wow.
By the 7th child, I would have been saying, take this 8, I'll take these 7, go away and take them with you. So yeah, I was much more extroverted. I wanted to be an actress, and the next best thing was to
Wait,
be.
you were more extroverted? I consider you very extroverted right now.
I am with you because you'll allow me to be. But
Oh,
if you,
wait. So you don't think other people don't allow you to be extroverted?
well, I don't talk to people who don't allow me to be
Oh,
myself
okay.
anymore.
Well,
That's a privilege of the quarantine.
yeah.
Is I don't see very many people. I bought myself a T-shirt that I thought, if I wear this to the grocery store, someone's going to make a comment to me.
Okay.
It's a picture of Nancy Pelosi cutting up the State of the Union thing. Do you remember that?
I don't remember this. No.
So after Donald Trump gave one of his State of the Union messages, Nancy Pelosi took the speech, which she had a copy of, and she tore it up right in front of him. And people were very mad at her. And I thought it was fine. So I bought the t-shirt and I thought, you're going to wear this when the quarantine is over and someone's going to pick a fight with you and you're going to kill them. Because the other side of me is, I'll fight for anyone's justice. If somebody hurt you, I'd come to Washington and hurt them. I'm very, in everything I write and everything I've ever done, I'm very interested in justice.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to find.
Interesting. You know, you said about the time travel thing about, I don't know, I'm really obsessed with time travel. I'm sorry. I keep going back to this, you know.
Oh, do it, because I know some about it.
You said not about forward. There's no future time travel. Is that what you said? Okay, but let's say there was. Let's just say there was.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you rather go to the future or the past?
Oh, the future, come on.
Right? That's what I'm thinking.
God. Who the hell would want to go, even if I didn't want a toilet? The future is going to be much better. Because,
don't you think? I think so.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to learn to take care of the planet, learn to take care of, I'm big on how we treat animals is a good indication of how we treat the world. And I'm not the only person who's ever said that.
Yeah, of course.
I think Albert Einstein said it, but I would go to the future. I assume the future is going to be like for your daughter who's 9.
Yeah.
By the time she's 20, I think if we haven't poisoned the world completely, she'll have a much better chance at being anything she wants to be.
Agreed.
But a 9-year-old 100 years ago,
no,
they weren't allowed to speak at the kitchen table in certain houses. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I'm for all that I am always yelling about injustice, I'm very hopeful that we will save the planet and there's only one bad caveat. I don't know what we do with the bad people, and I really don't know what we do with them, because putting people in prison doesn't make them less cruel, and I don't believe in capital punishment. Do you?
Right. No, I'm not into. I actually just saw that. I think Virginia got rid of the death penalty. They just got rid of that.
They did.
And now that death penalty is less common in most states now, and it's going down. It's going down everywhere. Yeah. It's not something that people pay attention to a lot about, but they should. It's actually the number continues to dive of the number of states that have it. And my personal point of view is that I think we're beginning to enter a time where people just aren't taking any shit anymore about discrimination in all forms. And so people who are still holding on to these really messed up old school ideas about supremacy and all that, they're shrinking, because humanity is like, we have to evolve beyond this garbage thinking, this separation of a person's skin color and their gender. And I think the people who are not willing to move in that direction, they're dinosaurs. They're going to get phased out. They're going to get phased out. I think it's just a matter of time.
I think they are getting phased out.
You're right. People are pushing them down now.
Pushing them down. The only problem is they don't go down nicely, and they don't go.
I agree with that.
Oh my goodness, what an ass I've been. How could I have thought that I could slap? I'm not going to go into terrible, I learned terrible statistics doing documentaries about women, people of color, gay people. The numbers aren't so great about how many women a day get murdered in this country by their significant other. I will say something cheerful about it.
Sure.
I think that has to stop. And I think most people like you and I, if you're smart at this point, even the terrible people, and I'll use as an example, my favorite terrible person, Mitch McConnell, he knows damn well that his time is up. And that's what, just look at his face. And I think to myself, don't look too long at his face. You'll go blind. But, I really think he knows. I think he does know that his time is up, and that it's not making him say, well, all right, then let me try to be nice about it. He's going the opposite way and saying,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try as hard as I can to stop it. You know, Buster Keaton, when he tries to put his hands on the arms of
Mhm.
the clock, you can't do that. You can't stop time
No,
from moving forward. And we're
no,
moving. So it's the thing about time travel, because you like it. The reason you can't travel forward is because you can't beat the speed of light.
sure.
So you can't go ahead of the speed of light and get to the future, whereas you can go back and get to the past. And I actually believe there's a time space, like a videotape,
Mhm.
where, and scientists think this, where if I wanted to take you back and show you a slave auction, I could, but who the hell wants to do that?
Right.
You know, I want to move forward to when we're all dancing and celebrating and say, oh, you do it that way, that's so interesting, instead of, oh,
Yeah.
you do it that way, I'm putting you in jail. So I'm very optimistic for a person
Yeah.
as cranky as I am about what the hell are people thinking?
I'm
You know?
optimistic too. Like, you know, a good kind of signal of that is, I guess, like last Monday, there was supposed to be like this White Lives Matter rallies all over the
Yes,
country.
and no one showed.
Nobody showed up.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah,
Because people are sick of this shit, man. They're like, you know what? You're done. We're done with
yep.
this. And it's the people who are into it. It's like, they're not, I don't know if they realize or not, but like, we're literally trying to get this out of our society as human. We're trying to push it out. It takes time, but it's happening.
But the good thing about it, not to put the good thing about it is it's always been in our society,
Yeah.
and now we know it. If you had said to me
Yes.
15 years ago, do you think there could be a group of people called this who really would consider kidnapping the governor of Wisconsin? And
Right.
I mean, it was Michigan, I'm sorry.
Michigan. Yeah.
Where is Gretchen Whitmer? Michigan.
Michigan. Michigan.
That
Yeah.
would consider kidnapping her and hanging her because she said they had to wear a mask against a virus. I would have said, that's impossible. That can't
Yeah.
possibly happen. But it did. And I think we're heading to a very, nobody, I mean, my husband agrees with me, but because you can't not agree with me or I'll jump up and down, you know, and go crazy. I think it's time. I think history goes back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth. And I think it's time for a beautiful, really beautiful reawakening
Hmm.
and changing. But we're going to have to stop people from saying, oh, I meant to taser you. I'm sorry I shot
Oh,
you. Are
yeah.
you
Yeah.
kidding me with that?
Mm.
But that coming
Oof.
so close after George Floyd,
Right.
just to say, am I out of my mind to think it's going to get better? And I answered myself, no. This is what's going to happen is it's going to explode past those people, and we're just going to say, you can't do that anymore. If
Yeah.
you do that, we're just going to put you, you know, the Olympians, when they took over from the Titans in mythology,
Hmm.
they didn't kill the Titans because you can't kill a Titan, they're immortal. They stuck them under a mountain, and they're still, if you believe Greek mythology,
Hmm.
which is possible, the Titans are still stuck under the mountain. They'll never come out again. That's all I want for those people who would
Mm.
say, taser, taser, taser. Oh, damn, I shot him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Have you ever held a handgun?
I haven't actually. No.
I've held a handgun.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to mistake for a plastic
I mean,
taser.
I would think so. I mean,
Handguns are heavy. That's why they hold them with two hands.
right.
Anyway, so let's talk about the happy future.
Yeah, I think the future is I actually am very optimistic about the future because I think of like what I said, we're going to be less tolerant of these poisonous ideas that people have about each other. And
Right,
obviously technology and different things of that nature is just moving sometimes I just worry like things move so quickly
right.
sometimes that it's hard to adjust. You're into one thing and then the next thing comes out and then the next thing comes out. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a whirlwind of
But if you
progress.
think about it in terms of the progress medically, what they've
Yeah,
done with COVID is kind of amazing. I think there's still some glitches
of
in,
course.
but Joe Biden, in like 4.5 hours into his presidency, he had a third of the country inoculated. Yes, some of those inoculations aren't perfect,
Of
and some of
course.
them are not going to work. But oh my God, he's moving so fast, and he's really moving in the direction I want it moved in. I want people taken care of. I believe it's well, you're a Christian, you believe, I believe I'm my brother's keeper. I don't necessarily like I have a sister, and that's a
You know, like,
problematic conversation.
that's a problematic
It is
conversation. Yeah.
because she's always hated my
Yeah.
guts. You know what? I don't hate her guts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's progress. To have she's a lot older than I am, and she really hated me.
Yeah.
Now she doesn't hate me anymore
Yeah.
because she needs my friendship, and I give it to her. I see that as the future, is that people will become kinder and say,
Yeah.
okay, she hated me because my mother played favorites, which goes all the way back to my thing about stories.
Right.
Don't
Right.
tell people about Cain and Abel as if that's a good story.
Yeah.
Neither child deserved to die. They were both doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But people need to write better stories, which is why. What is your daughter's interest? Does she show any interest in like
Oh my gosh. She is a massive,
athlete?
you're gonna like, no, no, no. She's all about theater. All about
Okay,
theater, costume
go
making,
girl.
arts,
Oh, wow.
dance,
Oh,
singing. If she
oh,
works in a
so my
cubicle, I
heart.
failed. I have failed. And like she should be doing something
She will.
emotionally expressive, artistic that speaks to her. That's
She
it.
will. And by the time she's ready to do that, I don't know what medium she'll work in, because I have a godson who made a lot of films,
Mhm.
like with Darren Aronofsky. I don't know if
Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
and he stopped making films for a while, and now he wants to make films again, and
Okay.
obviously because he's got that history, he's in the film industry again. And I said, they just closed, I don't know if you know this, they just closed all the ArcLight theaters in
I
LA.
just saw that. I
And I
just
said,
saw that.
the hell is going to happen to movies? And he said, people don't want to go to the movies, they want to
You
stream
want to
them
stream them all. Yeah.
and have their popcorn or their wine
Yeah.
or whatever. But here's the deal about live theater. You can't stream it.
No.
And that was what always attracted me to it. You
Yeah.
are in the room and you're communing. Everybody in the audience at a piece of live theater, whether it's good or bad, you're communing with the other people in that audience, having the same visceral experience. And it was so beautiful. I loved theater so much
Yeah.
because most of it wasn't so great, but when you saw a great performance or a great piece of writing, everybody in the audience was moved and changed, and that they can't take away. They can't make that.
Yeah.
You can't just do Zoom.
No.
Um,
No.
so if your daughter's interested in costuming or designing for theater,
Yeah,
even if she's interested in TV, and don't take it on yourself to say you made a mistake. If
yeah.
she didn't,
Yeah, no, you're right. You see it though, you kind of see this in people when they're really young.
yeah.
It's like, oh, like if your kid's like this whiz math person, or you see it, you're like, okay, well, how do I nurture this? And I see this in her, it's like she's making clothes for a Barbie, but it's not like a normal thing. It's
Right.
more of like she takes all this material and she creates these elaborate outfits that she cuts up and she glues and she puts all the details are so fine. And I'm like, oh, this is what she's into. And she
So
wants to learn how to sew and
you
everything.
encourage her, right? You
I
tell her,
encourage her. Yes, we
what
encourage her.
else can you do? You can't make her.
You're right.
This I've learned. You can't make anybody nobody can make
That's
anybody be
true.
anything. I can't even make people not have their dogs go to the bathroom on my yard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love dogs. I do not love dog poop.
Yeah,
And
I don't either.
I don't mind.
I don't know.
I don't mind cleaning up. I don't know what the difference is. I clean my cat box and go, la, 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 la.
Yeah, yeah.
There, but dog poop annoys me. So you can't make your daughter be anything except a decent
Yeah.
human being. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you've already
She's
done
a
that.
great kid. No, she's such a kind person. But I see this in her. I'm like, you need to do something artistic with your life. I don't know what that is. It's not, I don't even know how you do that and what that means. But I mean, there's people like yourself who have done these things, so.
I've always, and you know what about me that may be true of her? I've always done it my own way.
Yeah.
Sometimes for women or for people of color, sometimes for other than, what the power, we talked about white male
Yeah.
hegemony. It's everywhere.
Hmm.
Theater has been a realm of that. So I just decided, okay, I'll make my own theater company, which I did. and I'll get my own grants, which I did, and I'll make my own plays, which I did. And then the only problem is the actors. And I was the worst actor. I'm a very good actress, but I was such a pain in my ass. I've told this story. I was so like, do I look fat in this costume? And you think, you're the producer. You can't ask people if you look fat in your costume. That's not your job is to tell them how they look, not to make them tell you. But that's, part of my personality is.
Sure.
But I was going to ask you, do you take your daughter to museums?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we did before the pandemic. We definitely.
Museums in Seattle? I don't know anything about this.
I haven't been to any museums in Seattle, but like in Canada, we would go to some place because we live like 10 minutes from the border. Yeah, it's closer for me to go to Canada. Seattle's 2 hours away from me. Canada is literally like 10 minutes from my house.
Which part of Canada?
BC, Vancouver.
Okay. So Vancouver's a hip city, right?
Oh my gosh. To me, and I've lived all over the world, Vancouver is one of the greatest cities on the planet. It's just super clean, super diverse, great food, entertainment.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Just pretty.
Is it physically beautiful?
It's physically beautiful. And it's because there's water. There's water there. There's like, it has its like mini version of Central Park, like Stanley Park is like a mini Central Park.
Right.
Type of thing. It's just, and then you go a little past Vancouver, you got Whistler. You have basically a European village. It's like one of the greatest ski towns in the world. Always voted. It's just mind-blowingly beautiful. I don't ski. No.
So if you take your daughter to Vancouver, there must be museums there.
Yes, there's science museums. There's amazing, like it's not a museum, but like a really like animal-centered museums, aquariums, stuff like that. And that way, it's just crazy stuff, like really amazing. Yeah. So we do that stuff with her. We encourage that for her to grow in the things we know she loves to do, and she'll do them.
With all that, I would say, if we were having a therapy session, I could tell you lots of things I don't like that my parents did to me. But of the things that I love most, they really encouraged me. Nobody ever said to me, oh, you're going to start your own theater company. What do you mean? They said to me, if you want to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you wouldn't do it. And that's why I did a bunch of different kinds of things. And then I decided to write books because theater was really dying in LA. I don't know how many people know that. The unions were killing theater in LA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The unions made some mistakes, which I'm not going to bother you with.
Sure.
Really made some mistakes because New York theater, along with New York real estate, which went into the ionosphere, it got so expensive to produce a show that something like Hamilton, the tickets were $1,500.
What?
Who the hell has $1,500?
Who's paying that? Like
a lot of people.
That's great, but those are certain types of people who can afford that. I mean, that's crazy.
What Lin-Manuel Miranda did was the first 2 rows every night in the theater were cheap tickets, cheap meaning $150 for students or acting union members.
Yeah.
That's 2 rows. The rest of it, the tickets started at $1,500. And he sort of single-handedly destroyed Broadway because once you go up there,
you can't go back.
Can't go back. So I don't know what they'll do when you can have theater again in New York. That's my big sadness about New York. I don't know what they'll do about theater. You can't pay that kind of money, and who'd be stupid enough to do it? So
that's egregious. Yeah.
Also can't.
Well, Susan, our time is up here, but man, I told Deb last time, I said, I got to talk to Susan again because I just love her. Just the stream of consciousness. I'm into that. And the honesty. Yes, seriously. So
that's really nice of you because as I said, you don't want to come with me to the basement where my subconscious, this is my conscious mind. My subconscious mind gets a little bit more like, woo, 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 woo. But I'll tell you one thing. I was talking to a friend about the new book I'm writing, and he sent me on this book app, which I've never seen before. He sent me a book app, which you'll like, and you can get it for free. And it's called The History of Time Travel in Literature since H.G. Wells wrote The Time Machine. And it's about every piece of writing that has used time travel, and you might really like it. I
Okay.
love stuff like that. But yeah, I will meet you in the
Okay.
future, and we will have a party together, and then we can
Sounds
go
good.
wherever we want. And I'm
Yeah.
so appreciative of the time you've
Thank
given.
you.
Okay,
Yeah, same here. Listen, you have a good rest of your day, okay?
you too. Stay
All
safe.
right, you got it.
Okay,
See
bye
ya.
bye.